The Vulpine Princess was left behind, until a human carried her across deadly ground. The sun dipped low over the jagged cliffs, painting the sky in molten gold. Smoke curled from the distant village, and the once pristine forest had been reduced to a battlefield of ash and charred timber. The Vulpine Princess, Lyara, crouched behind a jagged boulder, ears flattened against her head, her tails bristling in panic. Her kin had fled, leaving her behind as the invaders swept through their lands like a merciless tide. Lyara's heart pounded. Her small, fox-like frame had never been built for open combat, and even now, her mind raced for a solution. She glimpsed the path ahead, a stretch of scorched earth and shattered stone, littered with the remnants of her people's defenses. Crossing it alone was almost certain death. A sudden sound froze her in place, a low, guttural growl that wasn't of her own kind. Lyara whipped her head toward the source. A human, tall and solidly built, emerged from the smoke, carrying a long staff. His eyes, a deep chestnut, scanned the chaos with sharp awareness. He was not one of the invaders, that much was clear. "Princess Lyara," he called, voice steady but urgent. "We don't have much time." Liara's ears twitched in disbelief. How did he know her name? And why was he here, alone, in the midst of destruction? Her instincts screamed to flee, but her legs refused to obey. The ground beneath them trembled as distant explosions tore through the remaining forest. How do you know me?" she asked, her voice a mixture of fear and suspicion. The human's jaw tightened. "I've been tracking the invaders since dawn. I've watched your kin scatter. If you stay here, they'll find you." Liara's gaze flickered across the open ground. Every step forward meant exposure. Every shadow might hide a blade. She swallowed her pride. "Can you carry me?" she whispered. The human hesitated only for a heartbeat, then knelt and opened his arms. Lyara leapt into them, wrapping her tails tightly around his shoulders. His grip was firm, secure, and in that instant she realized something rare: safety. The journey began. The ground was treacherous. Scorched timber shifted underfoot. Jagged rocks threatened to tear her small frame, and the occasional trap left behind by the invaders loomed like hidden death. Yet the human moved with remarkable speed, vaulting over obstacles with a strength that belied his size. "Hold on," he said as a geyser of fire erupted nearby. He ducked behind a collapsed wall, shielding Lyara with his body. "You're heavier than you look." Lyara allowed herself a small smile, a flicker of warmth in the bleak landscape. "I'm faster than I look," she replied, though the words barely masked her terror. As they moved, Liara's curiosity overcame her fear. "Why are you helping me? Humans rarely care for our kind." He didn't answer immediately, eyes scanning the horizon. "Because some of us know what it means to be abandoned," he finally said. "And because you deserve a chance to live." The path narrowed as they approached the deadly ground, a stretch of earth so scorched and unstable that even the most skilled walkers feared it. Smoke rose in thin, twisting columns, and fissures cracked open with whispers of molten rock beneath. Liara's ears drooped. I don't think we can make it." "You will," the human replied, determination hardening his voice. "If I falter, you falter. Trust me." Step by step, he navigated the treacherous terrain. A fissure opened suddenly beneath them, but he leapt sideways, dragging Lyara with him. Sparks hissed where his boots struck molten patches, and Lyara clung tightly, feeling the heat singe the tips of her fur. Every heartbeat was a drum of terror and adrenaline. Halfway across, a collapse of rock blocked their path. Liara's instincts screamed to leap, but the gap was too wide. The human looked at her, calculating. "Hold your breath," he said. In one powerful bound, he jumped across the chasm. Lyara pressed against his chest. They landed hard, the edge cracking beneath their weight, but they remained upright. Lyara's tail swished in relief, damp with sweat and smoke. Finally they reached the far side, the deadly ground behind them. The forest beyond was intact, a small patch of green in the ruins of war. Lyara slid from his arms, knees trembling, her heart still racing. You saved me," she whispered, awe and disbelief mingling in her voice. The human exhaled, running a hand through his sweat-matted hair. "No one should be left behind," he said simply. "Not a princess, not anyone." Lyara's gaze softened. She had known fear, despair, and betrayal, but she had not known hope. Standing there, tail swaying gently, she felt a profound gratitude, not only for survival but for the courage of the one who risked everything for her. "I owe you my life," she murmured. "You don't owe me anything," he replied, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Just promise me you'll live and fight if you have to." Lyara nodded, a spark of determination lighting her eyes. "I will. And one day, I'll make sure no one else is ever left behind again." As the sun sank behind the horizon, casting the forest in the gold of a new beginning, the Vulpine Princess and the human warrior walked forward together, strangers bound by fate, their steps echoing with courage, hope, and the promise of survival. Finally they reached the far side, leaving the deadly ground behind. The forest ahead was untouched, a rare patch of green amid the devastation. Lyara slid from the human's arms, knees weak, heart hammering from the peril they'd just survived. Smoke curled from the distant battlefield, but here, for the first time in hours, she felt a moment of safety. You saved me," she whispered, awe and disbelief mingling in her voice. The human exhaled, wiping soot from his brow. "No one should be left behind," he said simply. "Not a princess, not anyone." Lyara's tail swayed, brushing the grass, trembling with relief. Fear had gripped her heart all day, but now a warmth spread through her chest. Gratitude, respect, and a glimmer of trust. She had known desperation, betrayal, and loneliness, but this act of courage gave her something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. "I owe you my life," she murmured, voice barely audible over the gentle wind. "You don't owe me anything," he replied, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Just promise me you'll live. Fight when you must, but survive." Lyara nodded, resolve hardening in her gaze. "I will. And one day, I'll make sure no one else is ever left behind again." The sun sank low, painting the trees in gold. Side by side, the Vulpine Princess and the human warrior stepped into the forest, leaving ruin and fire behind. The bonds forged in danger were unspoken but unbreakable, and in that quiet moment, survival became more than just escape. It became a beginning. Together they moved forward, ready to face whatever the world had left for them, their courage echoing across the silent, recovering land.